Let's be real. When we start this journey, we expect peace, clarity. We even envision this soft, new version of ourselves that we're stepping into. Then boom, life starts to life. Emotions become overwhelming and things start to feel really stagnant. If you've been feeling stuck, today's episode is for you. Let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Five, four, three, two, one. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Soul and Grace podcast. Hello. Welcome to paradise, baby. How y'all doing today? I'm over here trying to make sure all of my dang skin food is rubbed in. Skin food lotion, that is. How you doing? How your week been? Same. It's been a week full of beautiful yet busy, yet anxious, yet proud. Yeah, it's really been a roller coaster of emotions, but in the best way. My little one just had a birthday, so yeah, I don't want to dive too much into that, but it's been a great week. Been trying to remind myself to not only celebrate my little one, but to also celebrate me. Because first of all, I want to thank me. The circumstances, baby. The circumstances that I brought a baby into this world in were not the worst of them, but I have definitely, it's been me. You know, of course, I don't want to discredit his dad, but it's been us, a very strong us thing. Because I had a pandemic baby, and just, the world really, as of 2023 until now, has just been getting back to some type of normal. So yeah, we are just used to really rocking out with us. My family is in Texas. My extended family is here, but away, hours away still. So yeah, we thug it out. And one of the traditions we've kind of just held, because we've noticed, like, while I was pregnant, I had a lot of peace and quiet and just everything, because we were on lockdown. Because I was spoiled with that piece, we kind of do that. We normally, not that I don't believe in birthday parties, but when you do a birthday party from like 1 to 5, that birthday party is for the parents. It's great. It could be like for friends and family, but it's not really for the baby that's not going to remember it. They barely know it's their birthdays. My kid just know. Now he does know it's his birthday, or he kind of understands, but he also is like, oh, people are supposed to give me stuff where it says. So yeah, that's been really cool, really fun, just celebrating that. I don't really, I kind of started talking too fast, but because we don't do birthday parties, we will usually do a trip or something, or that's what we've been trying to do the last few years, do a trip. There was one year where it's like, I took him to the Butterfly Pavilion. If you live in Colorado, you know what it is. If you got kids, you know what that is. And yeah, I'm blaming the Butterfly Pavilion. Y'all got my baby sick. And he was in the hospital, or spent his third birthday in the hospital. So this one was just a big deal, because it was like, 1, please don't let him get sick. No time soon. 2, there's usually like a snowstorm. When he came the day of a snowstorm. So I always know, I just kind of gauge it to that. Every year there's either a snowstorm the day of or after. That's the way it's been the last 4 years. But yeah, I've been doing that, and not too much work, trying to do all of this content stuff. But honestly, it kind of ties me into today's topic, or as you can see from the title of the video, we are going to be talking about why the hell this journey or whatever you want to call it, your self-discovery journey, your wellness journey, why is this shit so damn hard? We're going to talk about that. But before we get into today's episode, Cheers. Toast to you. Today, this is that strawberry greatness kombucha. Also, this week we do have a gotta have it or gotta have them because it's a couple of them. So now, if you've been here from the beginning, you'll be proud of me because before, when I was just doing mostly audio, I wasn't able really to show you guys, or I have the posts saved, but they're not posted. That's why Soul and Grace is looking for a social media manager. But outside of that, I got some herbs I want to share today. Just a brief introduction to them. Most of them I think I've shared in previous episodes, but on those previous episodes, you will find links to help you understand a little more about the herb. But pretty much, as long as you don't have if you're not on any medications, thinners, you don't have any issues, palpitations, or anything like that, most herbs are generally safe. And these three that I'm going to share with you today are very, very safe. With everything going on and just, this hard ass journey to discovering or meeting the best version of myself, there are three herbs that you need to have on deck at all times. You do not have to have them in tincture form, but they're easier to take than pills and things like that. I usually will take all three minus the rhodiola. I haven't seen this in a capsule form, and I really like taking this one. Tinctures, you just kind of feel them a little bit faster. For the ones that have a gentle calming effect, I promise you, if you're looking for herbs to give you like this feeling or sensation of like a little marijuana or whatever else y'all be partaking in, that's your business. It's not gonna do that, but these three have like a gentle, very upfront, like you can tell the difference. You can actually feel the difference. Either if it's not in that moment, you feel it in a couple of days or a couple of weeks after taking them. So first is my girl rhodiola, and I will tag some more stuff in there. This brand, I get all of my tinctures right now from natural grocers, and this is herb farm, and you can also find this on Amazon. You don't have to do it through Amazon. Go shop directly with the vendor. Do that. Go directly through them. You might be able to get a big discount or something. But this, it says energy and vitality, and this is an amazing herb for women. But for instant stress relief, you want to keep this in your purse. This is something, it's amazing for women and just estrogen levels and certain things like that, but it's great to level you out, and it's very gentle. When you take this, you actually feel the calming effect, so highly recommend that during these days. Next on the list is blue vervain, which I know is great for men and women, but these other two are mostly, I don't want to say mostly, but they're really great for women. But blue vervain is another great all day. Take a few drops of this in your juice, water, not sugary juice, 100% juice. I shouldn't have to explain that here. Mostly water. If you want to raw dog it and take it in, just not raw dog it and take it in the mouth. Hold on. We are ladies over here. If you feeling brave and you're not afraid of bitter flavors, drop a few in your mouth. But of course, it's more visibly absorbed by drinking. But blue vervain, great. And they also have there are so many other benefits. Right now, your girl has one thing on her mind. It's the topic of this episode, not to get distracted by it, but also Damiana. This is my girl right here. Amazing aphrodisiac too. Makes you feel good. Women, this is for you. If you don't feel sexy or you're having a hard time feeling sexy, this is for you too. Great, again, all day, every day. All three of these you can take without having to take breaks because they're not too hard on your organs or your liver and how they process and all of the things. But Damiana, I've mentioned this, I know, a few times on the show. During that time of the month, we just want to be oblivious, not oblivious, but just only feeling good and oblivious to negativity even when it comes to how your hormones make your body feel. Now, one thing I will note, if you don't have if you have an unbalanced diet, none of this is going to work, because processed foods cause our body and our organs and things a lot of stress already. So if you got somewhat of a balanced diet, of a balanced diet, go ahead and try to use it. Now, outside of the gotta have it, we have to pull a card today. Let me take a deep breath, because I am going to be going out in a little bit, and I think, obviously I'm clearly ready. Not in my outfit, that's the only thing I have to do, but when your body is just eager to be on to the next thing, and it's hold on, we're here right now. We are right here. We're doing the podcast, body. We're not gonna miss nothing. We're not gonna be late. We're not gonna be anything, because all the hard preparation is out the way, quite honestly. So yes. All right, another week, another card. Self-love deck. Self-love deck. Here we go. We're gonna pull from deck number 2. And again, it's always in the order of past, present, or future. The way these cards are in, and the way that I actually got these nails on today, we just gonna pick with what we got. We did a little long, just for a little razzle dazzle. Just for a little razzle dazzle. While I have pauses and breaks, and I don't have any big anything to do with doula stuff, I don't mind. But I just have to be so flexible. So these are press-ons. I love a good press-on. Baby, if you make press-ons and you're listening to me early on, send them my way. Ain't no shame in my game. I don't have 3 hours to go lay up and get my lashes done. And I also, or at least I don't anymore, because I used to do that. I used to do the nails every week. I used to do that. But then I moved to Colorado too. And it was kind of in 2018, it was still lashes and really bomb nail artists were still growing here. Some of my Colorado listeners might not agree, but for me, being a transplant and not being able to just go into a little Asian nail shop or anything, and I had my nail shop in Wheat Ridge I used to go to, loved the lady and everything, but I used to be in there every 3 days because the nails never stayed on, and they would be so cute. The lashes, once you learn how to do lashes, they would stay on. So I just kind of I don't. But now convenience is everything, because the most I'll sit and do is get my feet done. But today, level 2, the present. Oh, I said the present. Oh, I was thinking of it, said it wrong. How do you let yourself heal? How do you let yourself heal? I wonder what it means in what sense, but we'll just say in general. Right now, how I let myself heal. I definitely isolate. I like to isolate, but not for a long time, but I can function through I can function through being uncomfortable or having something sitting on my mind and I'm uncomfortable. But how I heal from things, or how I start the healing process, I do isolate a little bit. Personally, I like to talk to, it's gonna sound crazy, I like to talk to myself and kind of just get it all out, go over, replay this scenario for whatever it is, and maybe I need to cry about it a little bit, or tears, or I just need to voice how I feel to myself. Go for a walk. I'm so serious. Go for a walk, hike, and then I just slowly get over it. And this might not be the best way to deal with things. It's probably not the best way. I try to forget and forget. I can't promise you I'm going to forgive you, but I can forget you and forget the situation and all of those things. I'm really good at it. Especially if we didn't talk, just like if I made peace with it in a way, making peace with things doesn't always mean you've healed from it, but how I heal from things is moving forward. And sometimes that means I have to leave you where you at so I can move forward and work on how I heal myself. I'm gonna have to reflect on that later on or tomorrow when I journal. Oh, also another announcement. I forgot to bring the damn book downstairs, but I am starting The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. If you've ever done this or anything like that, definitely comment down below, send me an email, DM me something at soulandgrace. Shameless plug at soulandgrace or the Soul and Grace podcast. Yeah, let me know because I am starting on Monday. I wanted to bring the book down so that I can talk about it a little bit more, but that's okay because what time I'm working with. Oh, we're good. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. If you are feeling stuck, exhausted, confused, lost, discouraged, if you are feeling any of these things, quite honestly, you're not alone. Today's episode is for you. I always tell you guys we're on this journey together, and it's a common thing for sure, but I don't want to say common like immediately hear that and grasp onto the fact like, oh yeah, we all be going through it. We all try to figure it. We all can't work through it. And that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. Why is this journey to me the best version of myself so damn hard? The reality is growth is very uncomfortable. We immediately expect clarity, and sometimes a lot of that clarity shows up in the most chaotic ways. Life starts and this happens, that happens, but I'm still just pushing through. Especially right now where it's like, I'm so glad that a birthday my son was able to see it, his 4th birthday, all of these things. But I'm also so glad that this season from November to now is over of catering to holidays and people's needs. I would guess, if you don't have any birthdays in the winter and fall, you probably don't relate to that as much, but anyone that does, yeah, I'm just glad that this is over. That's what it marks for me, like the ending of that chapter, and I can move forward. And for a couple of months, I only got to worry about me. I don't have to worry about getting gifts. I don't have to worry about traveling somewhere. Now, granted, I still have to worry about that, but not in more exciting ways, not like in the ways that I've made more important than they are, or guilt tripped myself into doing or showing, like being able to be available for, or guilt tripping myself into being available as well. Deep breaths. Today we're gonna talk about all of that. But the first thing that I want to say is that you are not broken because your journey feels hard. You have not failed because things feel a little hard. Those are two first things, but you get my drift. The second thing that I want to say is stop looking at your wellness journey as a trend or comparing it to the trends, the next trend. Stop looking for the trend in your self-discovery journey. Those are the only words I know to use, but on this journey to falling more in love with yourself, stop looking for a damn trend. There's nothing trendy about who you are. Stop looking, okay? So today, while it's not informational, but I have 3 examples of challenges that I am currently experiencing on my journey of self-discovery. So I want to talk about that today because, yeah, I'm not, this is not one of those podcasts where I'm not Mel Robbins, baby. I don't want to be Mel Robbins. Quite honestly, I'm not going to say that, but she has some great information and views and things, but I think a lot of it is recycled. And my whole mission with Soul and Grace is to bring something that is way more relatable to my audience and listeners and all of those things. So yeah, here are 3 examples of challenges that I've realized are not necessarily, they seem like challenges because I don't, or not that it seems like challenges, but it all seems challenging because it's all very new. My whole reason for creating Soul and Grace was to bring a more relatable voice and topics to forefront, and from the perspective of my journey as well, or being on this journey with my listeners. But outside of that, I don't think that there are a lot of, it's like you can read all the self-help books you want, but the answers are not in self-help. It's like through the work and the realizations, and it's a lot of deep work. It's a lot of deep ass work, a lot of deep self-work. Who you are has nothing to do with a trend. You are simply growing, and this is all just like plants, new growth. Just like your hair, new growth. New growth is uncomfortable as fuck. Think about it in the sense of like, if you got relaxers, soon as that is old, it's uncomfortable. Your little ponytails don't lay the same way, or your hair doesn't straighten the same way. Your what is it called? See, now I'm bald headed and I don't even know how to do hair. When you get your hair pressed, I say old. When you get your hair pressed, because I couldn't think of it, but none that's gonna bother me. All of these things, new growth is uncomfortable as hell. It's uncomfortable as hell. You are growing. You are growing. Transformative growth that's gonna get us further than we ever believed and hoped for, requires discomfort a lot of times. For me, myself, I think it's easy for me to check myself. Discipline is a little shaky, but I've learned to give myself grace, or I've learned to make sure that wherever I feel like I lack the discipline, I stay on my ass about getting it done if I don't have the discipline to get it done right when I need to. I don't want to talk about it. It works for me. It works for me. But here are some examples of how I see things playing out for myself, or like I said, examples of things that are coming up for me in my journey that may feel challenging at times, but in all actuality, it is growth. So the first thing is, I am breaking cycles. Cycles that I think when we think of breaking cycles, we always think of bad cycles, but sometimes it's just you're introducing a new cycle to your line, your bloodline, your family, your whatever, like let's talk about generational patterns. Many of us are doing the work that nobody told us nothing about, warned us about. We didn't get nothing. We didn't get no type of heads up. We just had to figure it out. But also what I've learned from my own experiences, like I kind of come from a mom that mostly had to figure it out for herself and took pride in figuring it out. So when you grow up not seeing people, I don't want to say I didn't see her not getting the help to figure things out, but chasing those answers for herself, very independent. Yeah, that's the thing. So I am very much repeating that pattern because I do have those behaviors, but I've also changed that because I am open to asking the questions and not just sitting with the answers given to me like I've seen some of my other family members and things doing. And that's not to talk down on them or anything, but it's more so to just, again, analyze the patterns around you. Even if you don't have a lot of family, like what did your mom do, your dad, your who, all of those things play a much bigger role in who you are than you would honestly believe. Some of the realizations I've had, I'm just like, and then you go around your family, you're like, ooh, I see it's like unlearned behavior, unlearned but learned behavior. Then one of the other challenges with breaking generational patterns is simply like, I think one of the bigger conversations for me that I have that is super challenging is most of my family likes to stay close. Like growing up, I think I mentioned it on my To Live and Die in LA episode that I don't think back home, like I lived within a 10-mile radius of this. Like I grew up on one side, and by the end of that, I still lived on the same side, but just down a long road, like 15 minutes from there. And I had only been in a 15-mile radius from there. Not that I hadn't been anywhere in the city, but as far as growing up, I know North Dallas like the, and I'm not talking about everything north of the city, but or far North Dallas, excuse me. I'm not talking about far North Dallas. I'm talking about North Dallas, Skillman, Audelia. I know them. I know it like the back of my hands. A lot of my family, literally, like even when I went to California, it was, oh, why you want to do that? I'm going to go chase my dreams. Colorado, why am I still in Colorado? How do I deal with the winter? How do all of these things that you learn to adjust to, right? The hardest part is getting them to understand that this is my option. This is where I want to be at. This is where I'm happy to be at. Of course, having a kid kind of changed everything, because especially if you grew up at least in a close enough family where you see your cousins or you at your granny house every weekend, not because your mama dropped you off to go have a hot girl night, but because you genuinely like being over there. You and your cousins, y'all genuinely like being over there. That was me. Unfortunately, my kid does not have that experience, but that is a sacrifice that I'm making, in a way. But that is something that I still struggle with him with today, because it's always like, oh, just move back, just move back, just move back. If I move back, then I'm just saying, forget everything that I want, worked for, and see for myself, because is this my last place that I'm going to be? Absolutely not. This is where I am at now. I'm happy here. They never start the conversation off with like, oh, are you happy there? Are you enjoying it? It's always like, oh, I couldn't deal with the cold. I couldn't deal with the snow. It don't even snow here that much. Literally, it does not. It does not. Yeah. Or even, I think me and my sisters, one thing I wanted to say is, if I had not have left, my sister, my middle sister, she would not have decided, hey, I can do this too, because she left Dallas and she haven't been back either. Not because we hate it there, but because there is so much more life to be experienced. So much more life. So much more life. So why not experience it? One of the things that now I know my mom dealt with this as well is the same thing that me and my sisters deal with, as far as mind you, we have always worked. All of us started working from the moment we turned 15. We wanted to work. My mom never asked us to pay bills or do anything like that, but we all wanted to be very independent. So, and then, when you're 14, you're just thinking, I want my own money to buy my own stuff. Even if it's just getting stuff from the corner store, child. Getting stuff, spending your paycheck at your job every week, even if it's just things like that. One of the things we all have in common with, even with my mom has so many stories of her being a manager in the corporate world, and people just saying she's big-headed. She knows everything. She does all of these things. Me and my sisters deal with that exact same thing for no reason at all, other than we have worked for what we wanted. We see it, we like it. Even if we don't have it, we figure out how to get it. That is our mentality. That is a generational thing that we all are. I will say my sisters, they do not play. I am definitely the gentler woman of the three, but they do not play when it comes to them and their self-worth. And I'm just so happy that I get to be a big sister that sees that for them. Like, I get to see them be that way and leave things where they are. For us as a whole, it's always been like us having boundaries or wanting things and going after the things that we want is doing too much. And that's not true. Maybe your family, your friends, whoever, they don't get what and why you're not available for things and places and environments like you used to be. The truth is, you just don't want that anymore. And one of the harsher realities of that is like, sometimes further down the line, that's a little lonely, but not too much. If you question having boundaries for yourself, you are very much conflicted, and I encourage you to figure out where that confliction comes from. Where does it stem from? Because you can't be conflicted in trying to move forward. It just don't work like that. It don't work like that. So yeah, you're gonna feel stuck as hell. Stuck as hell. Ooh, stuck as hell. Number 2 that I put on the list, I'm facing myself in a brand new way. Like, very deeply holy. Every time I decide to go outside of what I know that I want, it hit me like a wrecking ball. I've shared that before. So I just can't do it. But that's another challenge. And I've said before, like when I tell people, oh, I don't eat like that because I see how my body responds fast, or I don't do this like this because my body, it literally will respond. Before the journey, before deciding that, I definitely can say that there was no awareness. But once you go through a little bit of work or do what you need to do, or just like with a food and diet cleanse or interest to change your diet, you will immediately feel or have a response. For me, at least, I have an immediate response to things. So it's really hard to ignore the things that I know make me unhappy or I'm not uncomfortable with. In the beginning, it was easy to distract myself, but right now, hell nah. In the back of my mind, that little voice just be like, run it back, run it back, run it back, run it back. And learning to sit with how you feel without numbing yourself, without distracting yourself, without finding someone to distract you. And yes, your friends, family, everybody is capable of distracting you. Everybody, even your pets. That's why my cat she was beating on the door just a little bit ago, because she can be a distraction while I'm trying to do this. It's hard to sit with yourself and really listen. Just listen, replay shit. But once you learn how to do it, there's no going back. There's no going back to just sitting with stuff, because sitting with stuff builds up more stress in a way, because you're not really getting over it. You're not really sharing, even if it's not with whatever it is that made you feel that way or whoever. You are not moving through the emotions. You're just holding it in, letting it build up in there. Now you gotta go to the hospital. Just kidding, not kidding. Women, we gotta do better. We got to, because we are under attack by our own bodies and our own brain. Your own damn brain. Your brain is always working with what is familiar, looking for what is familiar. And while uncertainty disrupts its natural pattern of how it thinks, uncertainty is a little bit of a blessing to the nervous system. I don't know, especially for the simple fact that a lot of times our brains will convince us that things are wrong or going to go wrong for us all the time. And that's not solely true. The other thing with all of the different feelings and things is like, healing is not easy. And if you can make it through this whole thing, because really it's not a whole thing, it's forever a journey. But if you make it to a point where you feel like you're healed and you haven't cried once, it is a little bit concerning. It is a little bit concerning because what is your way of release? Everybody got a different way to release themselves. Crying is the body's way of releasing itself. So you gotta shed a cry river one time. Maybe it's just a little cancer in me, but it's a nice little reset. And they say when you cry, those are the most powerful sources of the tears, or powerful sources of energy, so you can manifest whatever, or make some promises, some deep, long-lasting promises to yourself during your next cry fest. I don't cry a lot, but I will cry if I need to, or if I need to voice how I feel and or whatever. Like I'm one of those people that might cry, but if I don't cry, it's a little concerning, scary, very scary. Yeah. Have you ever thought of a moment where, or better yet, have you ever had a moment where you just think like, this shit can't get no worse than this, or I can't get any lower than this? How can this keep happening? Well, what if I told you it was normal to have that thought process and to feel that every now and again? To feel a little stagnant, just a little bit. It's totally normal. And that's normal because healing is not a straight line. It's definitely gonna take you through the valleys and the hills and the ocean, and it's gonna be a damn marathon. I tell y'all that every episode is nothing about it is quick. Nothing about it. You just learn to manage, and I'm sure there's better ways to say that, but for me, I'm learning to manage and pace myself and give myself the grace through literally everything. And the only reason I just say like it's just so important that you learn to do that, because for me, in my personal experience, things really don't be as bad as my mind is telling me that they're going to be, or the outside world is not reflecting the same thing that my brain is trying to tell me is what's going on. It's a process peeling back the layers, and sometimes you gotta go deeper, you gotta go harder, you gotta go through this, you gotta go through a little heartbreak. Unfortunately, a lot of times heartbreak brings us here to figuring out what the hell did I do wrong, because I want that man but he don't want me. But in reality, you don't want the man to want you. You want yourself to love you, nurture you, pour into you. You know, you need to know what you want, and having that man or partner, whoever the hell, is not going to help you in that way. It's just not, darling. I'm going to remind you every episode. Even with my down days, and even when I question those things, which again, I rarely have those moments, but for me, I have those moments more so when it's about to be that time of the month. And that's just because your body is getting ready to release. But my PMS is not as bad because I'll be drinking my clove tea and all of those things. I have a little bit more of the hustling spirit for some reason. Like those 2 weeks before, and then the 1 week before, I just feel like, man, I could be doing a little bit more. I could be making a little bit more money. I could be doing all of this. And in all actuality, once that little drop of blood drops, all of those thoughts, they just magically disappear for another 20 some days. Majority of the time, it just really be in our head. But yeah, even on my down days and feeling like that, my vision gets more and more and more clear on who I want to be. A lot of these challenges that I think are challenges are just simply me getting more comfortable with understanding who I want to be and where I want to be. The mental clarity is amazing. I feel like, I don't want to say too confident, but I feel more comfort in welcoming whatever is ahead of me. Because even if it is meant to come and distract me, I'm going to go ahead and maybe it might distract me a little bit, but not as much. And I can go ahead and move forward and move through things, because that's not only the one hurdle I'm going to have to deal with. I'm going to have to deal with another one and another one. Who's to say when it's going to happen? But just at least knowing that it's on its way, hey, I can deal with that. Number 3 that I put on the list is I am learning to exist in a new way. While I am moving past old ideas, behaviors, people, experiences, places, things, thoughts, whatever. While I am moving and letting go, this is all brand new. This is all brand new. Everything that comes along is brand new. So, yeah, think about it like this. The old version of you was super comfortable. You knew what to expect, or felt like, we feel like we know what to expect. Again, our brains like to train themselves to, or they definitely love routine. We all love routine. Naturally, I like to think your brain is used to feeling stressed, is used to feeling overworked, is used to feeling, or not feeling, but you are currently used to putting yourself on the back burner. Me too, sometimes. That is what feels familiar. And right now, unless you're new, this is your first episode listening, welcome if it is. Your body is looking for what is familiar. But now we're stepping into a new era of everything. Even if you're just in the process of letting go. Do you know how hard it is to train yourself to learn to let go and not fear or worry about the possibilities of whatever could happen? That is some real training. Not all of us can do that. I can tell you, it's really good training, and I'm better at it in some other ways than others. That's not something you just learn to do. A lot of people have learned to do that from trauma. Now you're stepping into something new habits, new mindsets, a new way of being, and all of that is sending a red flag. Had some internet issues. This is why I say you can't, baby. You just got to let go and let God, because the challenges are going to be there. Back to our brain acting an ass when we start wanting better for ourselves. Yeah, that's resistance. So I think that the feeling of disappointment is that resistance. And if you are feeling that resistance, just keep swimming. Keep going, keep swimming, because resistance might mean you just a little bit further than you were last week. Even though it might not feel like it. It don't feel like it most times. For myself, I don't really see, I see the progress, but maybe I don't always feel the progress in the magical way. I only feel it, or something like when I speak up for myself, when I ask a big question, or I'm showing courage. Y'all know that's my word. Still of the year. I don't think it was the word for this year, but it's still one of my favorite words of the year, because it's still definitely something in many ways I'm still working on, because I am a social butterfly, but there's so many things that I could still have much more courage to do. Excuse me. In this era of me, I would like to do more of what is unfamiliar. I would like to keep tricking my damn self, because maybe I'm gonna trick myself into becoming a trillionaire. It's not all about that, but I'm going to trick myself into somewhere or somebody that I want to be. If you feel like your wellness journey, your self-discovery journey, or just this journey to meeting and finding a better version of yourself is hard, maybe it's really not that hard. Maybe it's not, And it's not hard because you're not doing it right. It's not hard because it's a hard journey. It's hard because it's uncomfortable, You and me, we all doing a lot of deep work. We're trying to stay on top of doing the deep work because we know how far it gets us in the long run. Grace, patience, and willpower. Grace, patience, willpower. Have those three. Grace, patience, and willpower. Just have those three. Hang on to those 3 words. Write them on your wall. Write them on your mirror. Do all of those things to remind yourself that you're not gonna die after all. Or better yet, not that you're gonna die. Really, things are not that bad. They are really not that bad. Let's move on and kind of discuss like navigating hard moments and these hard thoughts and these big feelings, these big emotions that obviously come with this. Now that we kind of have related to one another and discussed why I've shared why things feel harder for me, let's talk about moving through the hard moments and all the things, and maybe some reminders that will keep you on your toes and on self-defense and patrol when it comes to patrolling your ego. Keeping your ego in line moving forward, because a lot of this is just ego. Everything is telling you you're not enough, you're not doing whatever. It's ego. It's not real. It's not real. If you find that you have done the work and you have come to the hard realization that I might not be getting as far as I want to get or whatever, there are people to help you, and there is an answer to it. There is some type of solution. It's not going to be a quick solution, but there is a solution. Let's go ahead and discuss what to do when your intrusive thoughts are taken over, because that's all it is. Very intrusive, mean, untrue realizations and thoughts that they matter. They do matter, because if it is coming up, maybe it's not something you're completely over. You do not want to overlook that. Don't overlook it now. If it's some good tea for yourself and your journey and for your future and for your future self, do not skip over the little things, the little hiccups. Figure it out. But number 1, stop expecting it to feel easy. Matter of fact, just stop expecting anything. Expect the unexpected. That's the only thing you should be expecting. Expect the unexpected. One of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming that wellness means feeling good all of the time. With social media, you mostly only see people cry on not many videos, and when they do cry, it's comments filled with, why are you crying on social media? Why are you crying on social media? Why didn't you go talk to your therapist? All of those things. It's not this picture perfect journey or a picture perfect lifestyle. None of those things. And we've talked about that in other episodes. It's not about feeling good all the time. Wellness means you've learned how to maintain. I feel like, if, especially for me, it's like everything that I'm doing right now in this moment is teaching me how to process and maintain a certain level of peace and character and love and grace and so many other words that I could fit in there. This little bit about myself intact. That's what it is. How do I don't want to say stay afloat, but that's where my mind is at right now. But how can I stay afloat versus sink every time something happens to me or it happens for me? Because sometimes things will change in your life, and because it wasn't what you expected, it's, can send you into a spiral, quite honestly. It's about learning how to support yourself when you don't feel good, or you feel that little thought come across your mind, your body, whatever it is, learning to maintain those things. Instead of thinking, why is this hard? Try to shift your mind to think like, what am I learning from this? What caused me to get here? How did I get here? What do I need in this moment? Because it is so easy for us to jump ahead of ourselves and things and ideas and just try to find a solution. But what do you need in this moment? What will help you out or help me out right now? What would do that right now? Because it's probably not another something from Amazon. It's probably not another mindless conversation with somebody about Chris Brown and whatever else. It's probably not those things. How can I support myself through this is another good question. Growth is still happening even when it's uncomfortable. Most of the time it's going to be uncomfortable. A lot of big changes, even when they happen to you, is going to be uncomfortable. We do not know all the time. So don't expect or try to go with what's familiar. Try to do what's very unfamiliar, even if it scares the shit out of you. Do it. Number 2, redefine what progress looks like to you. With social media, most of the time, even if we see a glimpse of, even if we get a glimpse into someone's bad days or whatever, that's simply just a glimpse. Even if it's in a vlog for long form video content or short, it's not that simple. It wasn't that easy. It didn't just happen like that. There are things that led up to it. There are things that happen after it. What does that look like for you? Sometimes progress isn't a massive breakthrough. It's simply just making sure that from like a personal thing, like sometimes my progress might not be completing, which I can't even use that as something because I realistically have learned. I learned about 2.5 years ago, I don't have to do everything and I don't need to try to do everything. Celebrate the small wins for the day. Like listen out what you did accomplish, or if you only got 3 things done on this list of things to do, that's still a win. That's still progress. Make the goals smaller, especially if you have a hard time with discipline and all the things. Make smaller goals, because then that's an example of how you would change how not only are you changing your expectations, but you are setting a new standard for yourself. You are also in a way self-soothing. You are choosing yourself over burnout. And that's just so important because you can't get all of it done. And if you're burnt out, you're definitely not going to get it done. And being burnt out just really sucks because it puts you in this cycle. And I believe so many of us are on that cycle of burnout, but we are functioning through it. We are finding ways to distract ourselves, getting to a certain point, and then we just keep going in the same loop. If you find yourself feeling stuck a lot, take a moment to really reflect and ask yourself this first. Where was I at a year ago? Look through your photos, do whatever. Really recall and replay your life a whole year ago, because you'd be surprised at how much progress and change has actually happened that you never even gave yourself kudos for. So run it back a year, 2 years, 3 years, really chat with yourself and just really get real and comfortable with having these self discussions and things, because nobody's really going to be able to replay out your past like you are. And I think that is what upsets a lot of us on our journeys of healing. Sometimes it's just like, you just feel so misunderstood. Well, clear up that confusion with yourself, so then you don't get too offended when it's not received by the outsiders. Clear it up with yourself a little bit first. That way, if you do get to a point where you feel comfortable having others or discussing your personal life and personal journeys with people, because you don't have to tell people these things. You don't have to share it. You don't got to share it on social media. You don't necessarily have to, but really do the deep work for yourself so that you're not defensive and you are also open to thoughts, concerns, ideas, and resources when it comes to whatever you feel like you want to change or get over on this path. Ooh, yeah. Really think about it, is like there's so much stuff, especially when we are constantly just going. Of course, there's not enough hours in a day to really replay things. Take some time and really reflect too, because I guarantee you there's at least 1 to 2 things that have changed for you, and they've changed for the best. Okay, they've changed for the best, and they're out the way because it didn't serve you. Number 3, rest is part of the work. Just remember to rest. That's all I can say. Again, it seems like with our self-help books or all of these things, all of this information we're taking in on a day-to-day basis feels like we need to constantly be doing something, but wellness itself is not about doing more. If anything, it's about healing yourself from wanting to feel like you need to do everything all at once. Sometimes it's about doing less. You know, for all the other reasons, we want to do more. We want to do more, mostly so we look good, but in the end, doing more is aging us beyond anything we imagine, because it causes nothing but a little bit more stress, and stress does age you. Y'all worry about the kids, it's the stress is gonna age you. Let's see what else. Number 4, I did put finding your community. Now, I'm not the best at this. I am not the best, but I am aware that community is very important. Healing is not meant to do alone. There are phases of it and conversations and things and just shit that is just so deep. I don't want to discuss it with other people, but being able to cry, go through some things for a couple of days, and then being able to go be with a group of people that accept me for me, and they don't even care what I've been through or went through, whatever my challenges are, they want to be there to support me. Do I feel like I have found that for myself? Yes and no, and that's okay. And I mean, if you feel like you don't have it in your real life yet, that's why I created Soul and Grace, so you have a relatable host, creator, producer, who is not afraid to tell you that she's going through the same things as you, or is not afraid to admit that we're on the same journey, boo. We're on the same journey in a different way, but I still have my things that I'm working through and have to learn to work through every single day. There's something new sometimes. It feels like every single day, but you know, there's always something. My biggest hiccup when it comes to community has been more so, it's not necessarily finding the community, but finding the one that I feel the most comfortable in. Because I'm a social butterfly, I've said it before, it's easy for me to become the friend of the friend, and then it's like, hey, if I feel the good vibes, I'm down, let's do that. It's definitely a part of my nature to love things that are very comfortable to me. Kind of, like I said, when our brain is familiar and knows what to expect, that feels great. I have not really found that community for me yet, but I'm not discouraged, or I don't feel like they don't exist. I just feel like, or I am making a point and making it my purpose, or making a point and purpose to put myself out there more in the spaces where I would find my dream community in. I am an artsy creative, a little bit of a hippie, but also I am an entrepreneur. I am a business woman, or learning how to become a better businesswoman, all of these things. I'm all of those things, and I am a creative, super social. I am very much about my money. Very, very much. I know I have the balance of the two. You can get very upbeat, bubbly, social me, or you can also get bubbly, entrepreneur me. Let's make some money. Let's talk money. Let's get this done. And it's hard finding the in between of that. I've been welcomed into a few communities here in Colorado, and I appreciated it. Or excuse me, I appreciate it. I appreciate and love the people that have built those communities for themselves and all of the things. And I again appreciate them for welcoming me in, but they're not for me solely. Also, I'm not looking for no like groups of like patriarchy, matriarchy type of shit. Like, we're all equal. Let's just do that. And again, like I said, I've been making a point and purpose to put myself in different rooms with different individuals, because that is the most important thing to remember. If you are craving a different type of people and energy to be around, you most of the time have to go put yourself out there in those environments of what you crave to attract that type of energy in your life. So I definitely been doing that. And it's okay, you know, it's coming along. It's coming along. The hardest part about adulting is relationships, of course, but really, you don't just date people that you want to marry. Like, you date in friendships, like in potential friendships, like you don't know. It's all a real waiting game and trial and error. Lots of trial and error. Community may not find you, so you got to go look for it. Try out different spaces, chat with different people, and make connections or learn which connections will not work out for you. Because I've learned that from a few. But let's go ahead and get into Queen. As we walk into Queen and we get ready to close out the show, that little hiccup definitely set me back. But it's okay. We're just going to keep moving forward. The good thing is, once I leave here, the night is still young. As we close out the show, I just want to say, lose every expectation that you had, baby. Today, tonight, tomorrow, however you do it, lose every expectation, okay? It's easier said than done. You're gonna have to lose every expectation to move forward, to bring closure, to heal, to do all of the things. You're gonna have to let it go. Let it go. Let go of every expectation. Even though it feels uncomfortable, maybe even uncertain right now. There's a few things that feel very uncertain for me, but I know and I find a lot of peace within myself. And I'm also proud to say that I know that I'm proud to say that I am actively working against every damn feeling that I am having. It makes me feel unworthy of growth, too much for growth, or makes me feel like I'm doing too much at one time. All of the things, baby, I'm doing everything in my power to work against it. Everything. Open your mind up to the possibility of becoming a better you, because it is possible. You deserve it. You deserve it. You're a stellar employee. You deserve it. You are a stellar employee to your goddamn self. So you deserve the growth. You do not deserve any stagnant energy. So open your mind up to the possibility of becoming a better version of yourself. You probably feel real unrecognizable right now. And guess what? You are. You are unrecognizable. The reason why you can't recognize yourself is because you're not even who you used to be yesterday. Now, some of us are, but you're not even who you were yesterday. Just get comfortable, because you're just going to keep getting real unfamiliar with who you used to be, because you're on the road to meeting this new version of yourself. The reality is you're gonna be a different person every day. So go ahead, get settled on in for the ride, okay? If it means that I am going to be better than I am right now, I'll see you later. Some things are not meant to stay the same at all. And for me personally, I kind of like it that way. If it means that I get to become a bigger, better version of myself, then so be it. So be it. I'll take it. I'll take that new me. Matter of fact, supersize that bitch. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Soul and Grace podcast. I'll see you next week.